I'm Mixer Johnny, and this is the top 10 Simpsons episode that's to get the Serious Flanders treatment. Serious Flanders is a Simplex spoof on a Netflix show. It's a dark and serious, out-of-continuity story, but it not being obvious it being out of continuity. And it was a spoof on more than one thing at a time. And it was a special extended episode. Now, the Simpsons hadn't did that in years. So it was especially a big thing them doing a 2-part episode after Who Shot Mr. Burns. It being proof the Simpsons never got bad, and it just getting its groove back even more, and it actually being even better than the original seasons. The Simpsons was always good. I'm not saying they should make it exactly the same or make another 2-parter episode, but another out-of-continuity episode that spoofs more than one thing at a time, and it also being dark and serious like a Serious Flanders. Them treating it being a big thing for The Simpsons similar to a Serious Flanders. This could even become one of the usual out-of-continuity stories for The Simpsons. And I'm going to be leaving those hashtag standwithanimation, hashtag indieanimation, hashtag orginalcontent, hashtag actioncartoons, hashtags in the description down below. Also, you can do them too, because it is because of social media is why us being able to do this. Yes, and social media is how us going to do this. It's for them knowing that we like animation and them knowing us wanting to see more of it. So us helping them and supporting them in the end to help them do it and to help them do more of it. And there's some of the actual fans to show there are people with good ideas out there, them doing it better than the big evil companies, to show the fans knowing better than the big evil companies about it, and you knowing how to do good animation, so you knowing how to support it good. There's some good YouTube channels and indie animation, so you know it's good because of it being on YouTube and them being able to take advantage of it being on YouTube. Number 10, The Electric State. The movie version of it was terrible, so it would be good The Simpsons being able to spoof it in their own show, and doing it more true to the original version of it and doing a good version of it. With it not being an action comedy that's terrible, it being like an R-rated post-apocalyptic horror story, like in the original source material. It starts out with Lisa going through the electric state of Springfield, but then through flashbacks you would see how it got to this point, with Professor Frank creating a machine that can put people's minds into technology, but then these people became addicts to it. They died from using it, and their minds were permanently stuck in the technology, and some women were unable to give birth after it. Because of it being the reason why they won in the war against Shelbyville, lots of people would want it and they were okay with it, which is why Mr. Burns is used as coming to make it the usual among people. People started living in the virtual reality. They started not caring what happened to their bodies in real life. And their minds started to get combined in the machines. Then it started making bodies for itself. Some people thought it was a conspiracy theory, but it was real because of it being the reason of why the world ended up like that, because of people getting addicted to the VR sets. Then there was a war between humans over the technology, and between the humans and the robots that were created during the technology. And the robots were created for project stuff, and they fought against the humans because they were being treated badly by them. Some people even putting their minds into robots in order to fight against other robots, and some people think they were better like that. And because of it, Marge got discharged from the military that used it, and Lisa and the other kids had to live in a car afterwards, and they were worried about the other people catching her mother being an addict there, and then even Marge died from the technology. Marge and Maggie were taken away after Marge died, and she even told them that they didn't have a barber. And Lisa and the robot had to steal a car because of a storm happening, and her being so scared of what would happen if the cops caught her, and her needing to keep quiet because of the other people in the headsets. Then also Lisa was put with Ned Flanders, but then they died too. because of Maud using the technology while in the pool. She was in there for a while, but when she got out, she died when they took off the headset, not from drowning. And because of it, Ned was just in the headset, and vultures ate him, and him not even caring what happened to him. Then afterwards, Lisa went to live with her grandpa, but then he died of age. And then it would turn out that Lisa is doing this in order to find her big brother Bart. Because after the war for the technology happened, the human race went extinct, and they restricted off America because of it being filled with robots where they put them all. At Lisa's journey, it just being Lisa without anyone else, the robot would save her life a few times, but that just showing Lisa that she can trust the robot, and afterwards it would just be her taking care of the robot. Then you can do a good version of Mr. Peanut in the movie by doing a robot Krusty, with you saying he was made for product stuff, and him fighting against the other robots because of him hating what they did to the other humans, and it's because he was a human and whose mind was put into a robot by the technology. With him leading the other robots and helping Lisa to fight against the other robots there, and with Lisa needing to deal with him dying and her finding out that not all robots are bad, and that there are good robots, and her taking in Maggie from Krusty, and she would also find out that the grown kid from Krusty is her little sister Maggie, with her needing to take care of her on her journey, and then needing to stop at an old motel, which would remind Lisa of when they checked into an old motel with their mommy, and they used to saw the show that the robot was from, which would be Itch and Scratchy, and the robot would be a robot Poochie. Present day, the TV would just play static. Then her also need to get away from a giant robot that has a bunch of people in VR sets connected to it, walking around like zombies. Get away from a giant robot find that just smiles and waves at her, and then would try to attack her. Then it being because at the end that Bart turned out to be controlled by the VR and controlling the robot, and Lisa managing to save him from it in the end. Then it would turn out that the reason why Lisa's brother was born after her mother used the technology, even though the other woman wasn't able to give birth after using the technology, and was able to control the robot to go to Lisa, was because when the people's minds were trying to create a body, it succeeded with Bart. Then they would use the technology powers to get rid of the rest of the robots. Then it would turn out they're being hope for humanity because there's still being good robots left, and because as there's still being some humans left. You can also do some jokes about how scary the original version of it was, but the movie version being terrible because it not even being funny, and you're just doing a terrible job of doing comedy. And the Russo brothers did a terrible job with Marvel, even though they had characters that were already around for a long time, and that characters that were already created, but they were terrible, and even worse, is that doing their own characters and messed up with even more with other stuff. And because of the MCU doing so many stuff with them originally is why their movies were so bad originally, but now because of them doing a cheap knockoff version of them is why the MCU is even worse because of them just doing an even worse version of their movies because of the terrible comedy. And you're just doing a terrible version of the tropes instead of you honoring the source material that was already good and did a good job of the tropes. This way you would do the original version of the Electric State, you're also doing a good version of the movie version while also making fun of how bad the movie version was, and you're also saying how bad is the Russo brothers is now because of the MCU being terrible now. And that's because of them why the MCU movies are all the same, and why the MCU is even worse now because of them doing a terrible job of copying them. Number 9. Star Wars. The Simpsons has done spoofs of Star Wars before, but this would be a straight up spoof of Star Wars, and with them spoofing Star Wars specifically, it would be good and them actually doing the sci-fi part of Star Wars, and with them doing Star Wars straight up, not just them mentioning it. With them doing the original story of Star Wars and the whole story of Star Wars, as with them also saying how bad the modern Star Wars movies is. They can also do other parts of Star Wars to be more original with it, like Star Wars Rebels and Lego Star Wars Salvage. Everyone else has spoofed Star Wars straight up, so it would be good the Simpsons doing it, and it would be better than a Disney Plus sort, because then they would be able to do a straight up spoof of it and them having more time to do it. Then they would also be able to do it with the whole actual Simpsons family. They wouldn't just be doing it with Maggie, and then it wouldn't be ruined because of it being based on a baby little kid specifically. Thus, they would do a much better job of actually spoofing the actual Star Wars because of them not needing to focus on someone like Maggie for the main character of it. And they should have did it with Bart or Homer, even comic book guy or Lisa. Definitely not a baby little kid like Maggie. And they could also say, hey, that they shouldn't have just redone the things from the original Star Wars movies in the new Star Wars movies, yes, and that was also bad them undoing a bunch of things with the original characters. And them just being a big each other way and them not taking the villains seriously. Number 8, The Simpsons spoofing in a theme park. You would do a spoof on them being at a theme park in general, with you also spoofing in things at the theme park. Plus, The Simpsons already do this all the time, so it would be good having an episode focused on it. You would do you spoofing Disney by you spoofing Disneyland. Make it interesting and do it different here because of the theme park things actually happening there. Like the things at the theme park being real. Like the Itchy and Scratchy characters and the Disney characters would actually be real there. And the funhouse would actually be a crazy place and the things on the rides would really happen. Then it would turn out it being because of King Kotos and then trying to spread it throughout the world to try to take over the world. And the Simpsons would use the theme park to defeat King and Kotos. Number 7, the Hellverse spoof. You would be spoofing the whole Hellverse here, both Hoverboss and the Has-Been Hotel. Homer would be Lucifer and Marge would be Lilith. Homer would be the devil, but he would be an assassin working for someone, and in order for him to get a good life for his family, and for him being the devil. Mr. Burns would be Blitz, Ned Flanders would be Adam, and Lisa would be Charlie, and Baggy would be Lisa's girlfriend from that future college episode. With Lisa doing the Has-Been Hotel and it ending up with Homer supporting it, and then stopping Ned Flanders' loot. Number 6, the Amazing Digital Circus. Lisa would end up in the Amazing Digital Circus after putting on a headset, and Mr. Burns would be Kane. Lisa would try to get out of the Amazing Digital Circus and us also seeing it being crazy in there and it also having some dark and serious moments in there. With Lisa refusing to give up and her knowing that it's better you going with reality even if it's terrible. The Simpsons could also use this to say good things about the Amazing Digital Circus and good things about indie animation in general, and them also saying why animation is good and why us needing indie animation to do good now. They could even make it the reason why no one got out of the game is because of them playing the game wrong, and that they're supposed to be sympathetic to the NPCs. And the way to unattract someone is by friendship. With them reminding them of the good memories they had of them, and with them also using some hacking technology in the game in order to bring back their original form so they can get out of the game. And that Kinga was actually one of the programmers for the company that made the game. And that the company didn't mean for this to happen, just there was a virus in the game and it gained sentience, but then the company would try to use this to take over the world. Then Kinga wouldn't go along with it, so then they put him in the game and because of them trying to test it. And that Pomni actually had an unpaid internship at the company that made the VR goggles. And that Kane's glitches are because of Bubble trying to take over the game, and so to make sure Bubble didn't take control of the game, and they made it that Kinga replaced his Kang, but the side effect is Kinga going crazy because of him being the guy in charge of a crazy game with glitches and a virus in it. So them managing to defeat him in a game after they defeated Kang in the last level of it. Then Pomni would become the new ringmaster of the game and she didn't want to do it before because she didn't want to go crazy with it. But then, and after her becoming the new ringmaster of the game, her setting everyone free and sending them back to the real world. After they unattracted everyone. And there would still be stakes in the game because if they attract, there won't be anyone to unattract them. And after they get back to the real world, then stopping the big evil company and finding out about each other in the real world, and them also getting used to being in the real world again, and then still being friends afterwards. The amazing digital circus shows us that online friendships are real friendships. It also tackles insanity, and it also tackles being special. It also tackles facing reality, no matter even if it is bad, because as living in a fake world is even worse. It can also do an opposite versions of them challenge. Thus, Pomni is a good character because of her attacking anxiety and with her just being nervous. This is a much better way to write woman with her actually being caring towards people instead of her just being a bigot to the other way. Like in the MC Pooh or Invincible. Us actually seeing her become that great leader. Number 5, the Gaslighting District and Knights of Guinevere. With Knights of Guinevere part, you would do a princess having dreams about a monster being treated badly in a lab. So the princess would free the monster and her actually showing compassion towards the monster. With the monster actually being a part of experiment to bring people back to life. And with the princess actually protecting the monster from the evil government. And for the Gaslighting District part, it would be a Pacific part of the city filled with monsters. And there's a family of gangsters who only do crimes to get by, and with them actually caring about each other. Number 4, Monsters vs. Aliens. It would start out with aliens getting allies in the end, then them fighting against the monsters at the military base. Because of them working for their master, the original villain of the monsters phase is for the alien invasion. The monsters would defeat the aliens in the end, and then stopping the alien invasion. You can even do in there the monsters and aliens working together to fight a combo of a monster and an alien, then it doing peace between them. This is what they should have did with Monsters vs. Aliens the series, and the Monsters vs. Aliens series was better than the actual movie. It was just good that it did the build up to the monsters fighting the aliens, and it did also have monsters fighting aliens there, because of the president just not knowing that the aliens were evil at the military base. Thus, it was good that Giganta was a more experienced version of herself. Thus, it just showed them doing other things than just fighting aliens, and it was also good that it showing them fighting aliens that were already at the military base. It was already good before with the military using monsters to fight against aliens, but you can also make it this being a private part of the government and that fights aliens specifically by using monsters. It would be perfect because of the aliens having a direct one-to-one correlation with each of the monsters is at the military base. Ginormo would go against the alien warrior because of her being a warrior and Giganta being caring, and because both of them being the most powerful persons on their team. Cloverton would go up against Dr. Cockroach because of both of them being scientists of their team, and because both of them being known for being super intelligent. The Missing Link would go up against the Kid because them actually being opposites of each other, since Missing Link is a strong guy and actually cares about him because as of him being a kid, and the Kid actually has a good relationship with the Missing Link, and also because of him being and because of him having good technology at his team. Blob would go up against the alien dog because of both of them being the not too bright guys of the team. So it really is showing Monsters vs. Aliens because of them having a specific team for that. Number 3, The Simpsons spoofing superheroes in general. The Simpsons has spoofed superheroes before, but this time you would do a spoof on superheroes in general, with the superheroes of The Simpsons being real in the Simpsons universe. With Batman and Pie-Man going up against the supervillains of the Simpsons superheroes. Before we go top pick, here's a few honorable mentions.
Clara got lost. I didn't know she was your sister, and I wanted you all to myself.
You would do that just for me? That's despicable. You're the kind of city slicker my family left Central Park West to avoid. You got a lot of chutzpah, Missy. Goodbye.
You guys know the way to Tahiti?
Way to go, genius. You sailed into someone else's tail of the sea.
At least I'm not gay for Skeleton Kearney.
Our ribs got tangled 75 years ago. That's not gay.
Right, you keep believing that.
Number 1, Itchy and Scratchy. This would have Itchy and Scratchy in the real world of The Simpsons. And them also having Poochie in there because of it being out of continuity story. And it being treated more like an Itchy and Scratchy episode just in the world of The Simpsons. With them also spoofing Disney's Scratch and Stretch cartoon characters. And you using Itchy and Scratchy Land to spoof Disneyland. And with you also showing the Scratch and Stretch cartoon characters with The Simpsons. With you also doing it to have some Scratch and Stretch cartoons in there. With us seeing Itchy and Scratchy fight against the girl Itchy and Scratchy. And the girl Poochie, and the girl Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie always winning. Which lead up to the original Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie working together to defeat the girl Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie. The girl Itchy and Scratchy would be Itchy and Scratchy's cousins, and the girl Poochie would be Poochie's girlfriend. Then them all working together to kill some random guy like Mr. Burns or Fat Tony. It would be different than the other time Brian, Lisa, and Jerry with the Itchy and Scratchy because of them actually getting in on Itchy and Scratchy killing Poochie, and also them actually interacting with the Itchy and Scratchy. And they would do Poochie good here with him still being obviously cool, but with him actually killing Itchy and Scratchy. And with Itchy and Scratchy needing to work together to defeat Poochie and to kill him in the end, and they would kill Poochie in the end. And us also seeing Itchy and Scratchy of what it would be like if they were real alongside Krusty. With them promoting some Itchy and Scratchy products, it would be a Scratch and Stretch cartoon episode and using it to spoof Scratch and Stretch cartoon shows from Disney specifically. You'd still be using Poochie good because of us actually seeing Itchy and Scratchy kill Poochie, and him being able to do Poochie. There being another Itchy and Scratchy character. Do you agree with our top 10 list?
Yeah, he's funny.
Please send me more ideas for our top 10 list you'd want me to do.